You see a massive house, a pristine luxury car, or, head-to-toe designer clothes, and your brain immediately goes, wow, that person is rich, right? We all do it. But what if I told you that in today's world, that assumption is completely backwards? Let's open this explainer by totally challenging everything you think you know about what wealth actually looks like.
Seriously, can you spot a millionaire just by looking at them? See, we are biologically wired to connect visible status symbols with real, tangible resources. Back in the day, a huge display of wealth meant you actually had the wealth to back it up. So naturally, we assume flashy spenders are loaded. But today, relying on that ancient biological wiring is a massive trap. And honestly, it's an assumption that's costing us far more than we realize.
Okay, so picture this. There is an incredibly stark contrast between looking rich and actually being rich. On one side, you've got looking rich. We're talking designer clothes, brand new cars, pure status symbols. On the flip side, being rich. That's index funds, older cars, and most importantly, time freedom. Think about that coworker of yours driving a 10-year-old Toyota. They might actually be quietly preparing to retire in their 50s. Meanwhile, the neighbor with the brand new luxury SUV in the driveway, there's a solid chance they are completely drowning in debt, just living paycheck to paycheck.
Section 1. The old signals are broken. How debt fakes wealth.
Okay, let's dive into this. The old playbook was defined by something called conspicuous consumption. Over a century ago, this economist, Forsten Veblen, noted that people bought really expensive things simply to prove to society that they could afford them. It was a public display to secure social status. But guys, that entire model, it is absolutely, completely broken now.
So why is it broken? Well, because fake wealth is literally easier to finance than ever before. Banking deregulation and easy credit have completely democratized the appearance of wealth. I mean, we've got instant credit card approvals. We have buy now, pay later apps sitting right there on almost every single online checkout. We've got subprime lending tactics. Basically, almost anyone can finance a lifestyle that completely masks their actual net worth. You don't need millions to look like a millionaire anymore. You really just need a decent credit score.
Section 2. Real wealth hides. The psychology of quiet luxury.
Now, there is a fascinating difference between loud wealth and quiet luxury. Loud wealth relies entirely on external validation. It's all about giant brand logos and, trying to prove you belong. But quiet luxury, that's driven by internal validation. It uses really subtle markers. The secretly rich honestly do not need you to know what they can afford. And here is the absolute secret to this. Not caring about your approval frees up an enormous amount of their capital. Instead of chasing the latest trends, all that money just quietly compounds in the background over time.
And there's this wild paradox of price when it comes to luxury goods. Check this out. A recent economic study showed that 60% of the most expensive luxury goods are actually subtly branded, while only 40% are loudly branded. In fact, subtly branded goods often cost way more than the flashy ones. Crazy, right? Why? Because true wealth only wants to signal horizontally. They only want to be recognized by other people who are in the know, not by the general public.
Section 3. The new reality, the disconnect between appearance and net worth.
This huge disconnect is causing some serious psychological harm right now. Enter money dysmorphia. This is basically a totally warped perception of financial reality, and it's fueled almost entirely by social media. We are just constantly bombarded with these highly polished narratives of effortless wealth, and it completely skews our sense of what's normal. It makes us feel totally inadequate, even if, realistically, our bank accounts are doing just fine.
Now, what's really interesting here is the sheer contrast in aesthetics. We have this super performative wealth on one side and the heavily curated old money aesthetic on the other. Influencers are actively redefining reality here. They are selling an impossible outcome, packaging these flashy TikTok trends and presenting them as the baseline norm. You look at it and think, man, I'm failing, when really, you are just staring at a highly curated mirage.
Extreme wealth is being sold to us as just a simple mindset. But come on, this completely ignores systemic reality, and it hides the actual struggle. These influencers, they rarely mention the failures. They hide the crippling debt sitting right behind that rented sports car. They completely ignore the sheer privilege that probably helped them along the way. Instead, they just drive their audience into really expensive courses and get-rich-quick schemes, basically profiting off your financial anxiety.
If you're finding this valuable, please subscribe to Wealth Lab and share this explainer with your friends and family. It really helps us grow.
Section 4. What this means for you? Escaping the visible lifestyle game.
Look, comparing your financial progress to social media illusions is a losing battle.
period. To escape the visible lifestyle game, the secretly wealthy organize their lives around one very, very simple distinction: liabilities versus assets. Liabilities take money out of your pocket. Assets put money into your pocket. It really is that simple. When you finally trade that exhausting pursuit of visible status for the peace of mind that comes with actually owning assets, literally everything changes. To put that into perspective, let's look at the staggering math behind this quiet approach. $1.4 million. That is the massive wealth gap created by just a 10-year delay. If you invest $500 a month starting at age 25, you'll yield about $2.3 million by the time you're 65. But if you wait until age 35 to start, you end up with just $915,000. That is a $1.4 million penalty, literally just for waiting a decade to begin.
So the crucial point is that real wealth is a learned behavior. It's built quietly and consistently in the background, without needing anyone's approval. Here are 3 quiet wealth tools you can use right now. Number 1, maximize your employer 401k match. 2, open a Roth IRA. And 3, redirect just one recurring expense straight into an index fund. Small, consistent choices repeated for decades, that is what secretly rich actually looks like. So, what will you choose? Looking rich today or actually being rich tomorrow? Thank you for joining us today. If you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe to Wealth Lab. We'll see you in the next one.